So please welcome Eric Manuel, the head of business development and marketing for Daiichi Properties. Daiichi Properties, you'll see their properties popping up in BGC and other locations. World-class buildings, the best of the best architects and so forth. Really beautiful structures that they're putting together. So please welcome Eric Manuel of Daiichi Properties to the stage.
Thank you, Richard. So good morning, everyone. So what is the future of logistics? I know it's opportunities and threats and risks. So this road, it's a beautiful road. So the Philippines, number 47 in the World Economic Competitiveness Report, one of the best, probably the 16th largest economy according to HSBC in about 35 years. So we have a massive, I call it the Philippine potential. The road is beautiful, like this road you see behind me, but it's bumpy, as you'll notice this. But the future is definitely one thing that's really, really apparent. It's completely digital. And all of us in this room probably know this. Now, there's about 5 billion phones floating around the world right now, and about 2 billion of those are smartphones. Now, we all know what smartphones have done, from our farmers to anything, to everything we do, completely digital. We know that smartphones and other internet-enabled products and services actually disrupt a lot of things, like this tow disrupting this lake, the ripple effect. So in commercial real estate, every major trend that's actually happening now has been happening for the past couple of years, and this is not just logistics and industrial, everything else is because of something related to technology. And I think about 2 weeks ago, Richard and Rebecca hosted a digital forum, basically all the internet companies, and that was very enlightening. For some of you that attended, some of these slides may look familiar. But let's go by asset. So we know some company that is disrupting the whole entire hotel's supply chain. Everyone's pretty much familiar with Airbnb. It's also actually impacting the residential market. Okay? This is actually the only promotional material I'll talk about for Daiichi Properties. This is our latest office project in the fort. And what kind of company is disrupting the office sector? WeWork. Now, if I ask anyone in the room ever heard of this company? It's a co-working company that's going global, started in New York. It's at least worth $2 billion right now, and it's basically similar to Airbnb of what they're doing to hotels. So you'll see them coming soon. And of course, for retail, if I ask the room, take a guess. Some may say Walmart, of course, but now actually the new company that's really taken over disruption for the retail sector is, of course, Amazon. Okay. Now, something more relevant to today is, of course, logistics, right? If I ask the room again, which company is truly disrupting the logistics sector? Right? Hard to think about it, but it's actually Amazon again. Does anyone in the room want to take a guess what this is? 3D printer. Great guess. That's a 3D printer. This car. This is from Phoenix, Arizona. This is not a prototype. This is real. They're selling this. The company is called Local Motors. This is single. The only thing they didn't print, I think, is the tires. Now, this is not the biggest 3D printer in the world. This is not a pie in the sky. This is not 20 years from now. This is actually last year. What is this year? What does this print? Now, you guys can't see this, but on the bottom right are people. Okay, kind of look like little tiny people. So that printer is massive. What do you think this prints? A house. 3-story house, to be exact. And this is somewhere in China. So that is the future of logistics. But let me get back to e-commerce. Okay. Goldman Sachs, and Charlie did allude to these statistics, is basically about only sub 10% by 2018 will be online retailing versus actual physical stores. But that market is still worth $1.3 trillion in 2018. That is quite important, because I will refer to another statistic of how much e-commerce is according to DTI in the Philippines. But at the end of the day, this is all about your consumer. We all think this way. Consumers. So what is about this consumer behavior that's so radically different from what it was a year, 2, 3, 4, or 5 years ago? This is Hong Kong skyline. So we know one major global trend. It's called urbanization. So this is the urbanization chart, as you can see where we crossed. is this, millennials. So what is the millennials? What is it about these millennials that we keep on talking about? Well, you see, the green middle bar is everything they do. So they research products online more than average. They purchase products online more than average. They view everything online more than average. That is this group from 18 to 35 years old. And for those trying to see if you're a millennial, if you're born in 1980 and above, then congratulations. So what is it really also happening in the whole retail thing? So historically, and maybe in developing countries like the US, and maybe in the Philippines actually, we've leapfrogged. So leapfrog development, thanks to ICTs actually. We're able to not go the same route as Europe and other Japanese countries. We actually skipped by doing 4G. So how we used to buy products was basically, 1.0 was you go to a store. Very simple. We still do that mainly now. The past for some developed countries is actually called 1.5 e-commerce, which is half store, half online. Maybe you research online to buy the thing on the store. The recent past, actually, is multi-channel, they actually call it, where you're actually calling up a help desk or going online or going to the store. But the real buzzword right now for the whole retail sector is something called omni-channel. I'm sure some of you have heard this term. It's a seamless experience across devices and everything else. You can buy things through apps. You can buy things through your phone, which is now the hot new keyword called m-commerce, mobile commerce. So I'm a real estate guy, but all of us know in this room what you share with those 18 to 35-year-olds is commodity of time. It's the most precious thing we have on earth, time. So in retail, we all know that when you buy something online, you want it now. And this desire for how fast you want a product or a good or service is the reason why we got to get closer to our customers. The premise really is e-commerce is changing how things are bought and sold. But for us real estate developers, we know that as well as they are transported, stored, and distributed. Okay. The single channel to customer, so a factory on my left, on your left actually, factory to the warehouse, to the store, to the cart or the basket of your consumer. To simplify, but the multiple channels is the same process in the beginning, the first mile as you want to call it. Basically, to a store now, to an e-fulfillment center, to a distribution center, to different types of warehouses. I'll lay it out even further. So on the left side of the screen, think of it as Cavite and Clark. These are the big warehouses, okay? And the e-fulfillment centers, as you get closer to the right, think of that as Metro Manila or any urbanized area. This is the future supply chain. It's no longer just about, can I get a logistics facility in Cavite? Okay, so this is now what's going to happen. So what have I learned from our research so far on commercial real estate and industrial and what's happening? Well, more of what? Actually, logistics is I know we've talked BPO office for past 5 years, but in terms of the next leg of growth of the real estate sector, it actually is logistics. Actually, more locations, as you saw before, that you need distribution centers, e-fulfillment centers, sorting centers, warehouses. Right? So actually you need more locations. And usually there's more employees that work in these spaces, so you need more parking. You need more power, you need more security, and it's more capital investment. You need to put in much more technology, higher ceilings actually because of the racks and mezzanine office space, and you have to remain very flexible, flexible walls. If your client actually wants to grow by X-fold or decrease by X-fold or go up X-fold, as developers, I have to ensure that our facilities are flexible. But my favorite thing as developers is that there's more space. Actually, all what we've seen across our research globally is that as e-commerce grows, more space is needed by companies such as yourselves in the room. So is this disruption coming to the Philippines? So DTI said that in 2014, our e-commerce total amount was 1 billion. They expect that to double to 2 billion by 2015. Also, in terms of penetration rates, Philippines actually has 40% of its population with a phone. And then 4 out of those 10 people that have it actually are using a smartphone. So also remember that we're highly urbanizing. And the other thing is, our average age is 23 years, back to the millennials. So in terms of disruption potential, the Philippines is one of the most disruptive countries there is, especially for e-commerce. But I do have to admit, we're still an ugly duckling. Doris and Charlie alluded to this. Infrastructure is bad. But let's talk about facilities. Can you guys find the right facilities you need as you grow your businesses and as you evolve? And the other thing is, what is the internet speed of the Philippines compared to ASEAN? We're the slowest. Okay. Not only are we slowest, how about on the consumer? Javi and I were having a discussion. Only 3% of us Filipinos actually have a credit card, right? But I know LBC is also trying to do different cash on delivery systems. So you guys are finding a way to get to the last mile. But we're highly also unbanked, right? So we're still an ugly duckling. Now, but the Philippine potential that I keep on referring to, so this is actually this Digital Evolution Index done by Tufts University, the Fletcher School of Government. Put it this way, the best quadrant to be in is the upper right. And you'll see countries like Singapore and Hong Kong. We're at the bottom, actually at the bottom right. And luckily, this goes counterclockwise. So we're actually one of the breakout nations that's actually labeled by Tufts University, among other countries. So Malaysia's actually with us if we know their infrastructure is quite good. But we're a breakout country. Now, it's only what this index doesn't measure, though, is the time that it takes to get to the other quadrant. Okay, and that's, of course, the roadmaps that Doris was referring to before. Okay? So how do we become this beautiful swan, evolve from an ugly duckling to a swan, right? Well, we've got this e-commerce roadmap, but we have this logistics conference that all of you are here. And we all can collaborate and discuss. We also could just be much more open in bringing out those ideas, right? We also have lots of companies that are progressing much faster. We have our PPP programs. We have several things going well for us, right? But since we're talking about birds, I really do want to push my carrier pigeon idea, because I promise you there is no traffic up in the air for now. And if I can ask Lance to actually go to the video. So this is how the bird is evolved. So how real is this? This has been in prototype mode for Amazon for about 2 years, and they need FAA regulation, of course. Maybe one day. So as developers, and I'd love for you guys to check out our website. We are office developers, but we built about 185 hectares worth of industrial, and we are looking to grow our portfolio. And as your business gets more complex, that's where we'd love to discuss with you anyway, how to help you grow your business. Please try to follow us on LinkedIn and, of course, our Instagram. But if there's any other big ideas you guys like to discuss on how we all can work together to kind of bring this industry forward, please email me. I'll be here for the rest of the day, and so is my team. So thank you very much.